You are allowed to tell your story and talk about what has happened to you. You are allowed to share your testimony and fuck what anybody else thinks because this is your experience. Now, nobody wants to live the rest of their life dwelling on the pain of their past and the difficult experiences that they have went through. No one wants to waste the rest of their years in life focused on that. No. But at some point in their life, before they can move forward, they have to deal with the past in order for them to move on and move forward. Because you can't move on from something that you haven't faced or addressed or dealt with. And if you decide at any point that you want to tell your story and talk about what you have been through, speak on your experiences, it doesn't matter how many years have gone by since the experience has happened, that still happened to you. You can talk about what has happened to you. And for anyone that does decide to come forward, or if you see someone coming forward because of their experience that they have had where they have been abused and they have gone through a very traumatizing time of their life that has affected them for years and is probably affecting them to this very day, if someone decides to come forward and tell their story, do not shame them, do not mock them, do not make fun of them, do not invalidate them, their experience or their feelings. Do not shun them because they decided to come forward. Don't make them feel shitty about themselves because they decided to come forward all these years later, because you have no idea how much that experience has been tormenting their soul silently before they decided to come forward and speak about what has happened to them. People want to close the chapter of their life. They want to close that book. They want to end that chapter. They want to close the door to that phase of their life and they want to move on. But they've realized that the only way for me to properly close this chapter, close this door, end this cycle, I have to deal with it. I have to face it. I have to relive the traumas of my past, face my fears, confront those issues, heal those wounds so that I can finally close this chapter and move on. Because if I don't deal with the pain that this has caused me from this situation, then I'm going to continue to live. If I move on, I'm going to continue to linger with this pain, have this pain lingering with me as I go forward. If I don't deal with it, it's going to follow me into my future. So I have to deal with this. And for all the people that love to just tell people, just let it go, just let it go, let it go. You see, what you all want is you all want people to let shit go silently. You want people to just say, I'll let it go, it's over with, I'm not going to talk about it no more. You don't want people to bring up the shit that has happened to them. You don't want people to bring up the shit that you have done to them. You don't want people to bring that shit up. You know what I'm saying? That's why people would get so bent out of shape when people start telling their story and others tell them, oh, just let it go, let it go, when they talk about the pain that they have been through. No one's gonna let it go silently just for your convenience and your comfort. No. And the thing is, people can let things go and they can still make a fuss about it. They start, I'm going to let this go, but I'm going to talk about it first. I'm going to address my pain. I'm going to speak on what has happened to me. I'm going to make a fuss about it. I'm going to make a ruckus about it. And then I'm going to let it go. You can't try to police how people deal with what they have been through. And if a person is going to let it go, you have to allow them the space in the rooms to do whatever they need to do to unleash that pain with harm to none before they let it go. And if a person is venting and they're talking about it and they're telling their story and they're getting emotional while they're telling their story, let that emotion come out. But don't try to shun a person and shame a person for what they have been through and what they have experienced. So the fuck what if it's been so many years since that has happened? That pain has lived inside of them. That trauma has lived inside of them. And as much as they have tried to move on and they've gotten older and they've grown up and they've evolved, that pain still lingers, because when you've gone through trauma, it's not something that you can just let go and turn off like a light switch. That's not how that shit works. And if you have actually been through some traumatic shit in your life that you actually had to heal, you'll realize that just saying letting it go is easier said than done. You actually have to put in the work to let it go. And it's the people that ain't really been through a lot of traumatic shit in their life, they didn't really have a bunch of stuff to heal from, be the main ones trying to police how other people heal from their shit. Or they have been through some traumatic things in their life, but they swept it under the rug and thought that that was how they're going to deal with it. And they haven't dealt with it. So they see other people dealing with it rawly and authentically in ways that they probably wanted to deal with it, but they were afraid to. So yeah, let me tell you, you are allowed to tell your story and give your testimony. And it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. It doesn't matter if your abusers or your attackers are going to hear about it. So the fuck what? They didn't have any mercy on you when they inflicted this pain onto you. And if your truth is if your truth is speaking on the action that they have caused you and how hurtful it has caused you, tell it anyway. So the fuck what? If it's going to make them look bad. They didn't give a fuck about looking bad when they treated you bad. You're not making them look bad. You're exposing them for who they are. That's who they are. Okay? How people treat you is a reflection of who they are. So if they wanted to be known as a good person, they should have treated you like a good person. They should have been a good person to you. But they can't be a bad person to you and then want to be portrayed as a good person when that's not your experience. If your experience with somebody was traumatic, you get to speak on that. And the thing about bullies and abusers is they don't even realize that the action that they're taking against other people is traumatizing them. They have no fucking idea that they're traumatizing people. They're just getting a kick out of what they're doing, but they don't realize the trauma that they're inflicting on people. And the way that you can bring this truth to the forefront is say you are an abuser, you traumatize people, and you hurt other people, and you need to stand on that shit. They may not stand on it when you confront them, but life is going to make them stand on it eventually. Yeah. And when life has to humble them, it's going to be so much worse, because they can lessen the blow of their karma if they were to actually repent and take accountability and acknowledge for what they have done. They can lessen some of that that's coming towards them by recognizing that they were wrong. But if they still don't recognize that they are wrong, it's going to come down on them hard. So yeah, you are allowed to tell your story no matter what people think, no matter what people say. You tell your story. You speak about what has happened to you. You advocate for yourself. Advocate for that version of yourself that was silent, that was silenced, that didn't have the voice, that wasn't strong enough to speak up for themselves. You speak for that version because they need you.